Well, the only certainty about the coming election in Britain is that we'll end up with the wrong government, the one we deserve, as usual, because we always vote for people who know they can break every promise and still be elected. Now, one of the thornier issues in this campaign has been immigration, but we don't have an immigration problem in Britain. That's merely a symptom, and it's one of many. We have a democracy problem in that we don't actually have any say in shaping the society we live in. What we have is the appearance of democracy, where every 5 years we vote people in on a rainbow of promises who then give us the finger and do what they like. Or more often they do what they're told, which is to push through stuff that the people didn't vote for and don't want, and then we all wonder why we didn't get what we voted for again as we go out and vote for the same people again and again and again. They say a definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. And we really don't have any excuses, because we know that all three establishment parties have lied and lied to us in the past. And not just fibs or little white lies, but significant, serious lies. And we know they're lying now too. And we know they're doing it because they know they'll get away with it, as they always get away with it, because we keep voting for them like a bunch of sheep. All the broken promises of yesterday, no rise in tuition fees, remember that one? All the cast iron guarantees, all the no ifs and no buts are all gone and forgotten. They got some shiny new promises now. See how they sparkle, you gullible muppets. Cameron reneged on his famous cast iron guarantee on an EU referendum as soon as he was elected. He couldn't wait to weasel out of it like a lawyer. And if we elect him again, he'll do the same thing again, because that's who he is. He doesn't want a referendum. None of them do. You see, democracy in Britain, or what we like to call democracy in our more darkly humorous moments, operates on the principle that the people are always wrong, and that whatever they want is always bad. Therefore, the less genuine representation they have in government, the better. After all, if the people had their way, we'd have all sorts of crazy, irresponsible policies. For example, we would not have gone to war in Iraq or Afghanistan if the people had had their way. Because the people didn't want those wars and made it loudly known at the time, but they were ignored and overruled because the massive egos of career politicians always know best. If the people had had their way, the bankers would not have been bailed out at our expense for their crimes against us and now be living the high life again on massive bonuses while we continue to pay off their criminal gambling debts. If the people had their way, there would be no private profit in the health service, and funding for the police and the armed forces would not be cut and cut and cut and cut again to make our society less secure and more dangerous, while we increase the billions we already send in foreign aid to countries riddled with corruption, some with their own nuclear weapons. If the people had their way, this country would not be full of foreign terrorists and criminals we can't deport. Nor would we be talking about an immigration problem, because our membership of the European Union would have been decided long ago, democratically, if just one of the many promises of a referendum had actually been kept. And who knows, we might not still be pouring £50 million straight down the drain every single day for the privilege of taking orders from people we didn't elect and can't remove. Predictably, the opinion polls tell us that the usual suspects, the red and the blue, will get most of the votes in this election as usual, because they have rival armies of tribal supporters who would vote for a donkey if they put it up as a candidate, and in many cases that's exactly what they do. Parliamentary time servers and safe seat holders who can be relied on to shuffle obediently through the lobbies and vote the way they're told. Occasionally they'll kick up a fuss for appearances. They stand up and huff and puff and make their little speeches. Then they sit down and shut up and vote the way they're told. They call each other honourable this and right honourable that, but if they want a career, and they do, oh how they do, they have to be dishonourable and let themselves be bullied and pushed around like vassals on our behalf. They have to renege on every cast iron guarantee they've ever given and snuff out the voice of the people who elected them, and that's why we never seem to get what we voted for. That's why we have no control of our borders. That's why the bankers got away with their crimes, and that's why this country always seems to be at war somewhere in the world. Anyway, how will you be voting this time around? Same as usual?